Hello everyone, this is Aaron Maurer, Coffee Chug, and this here is just a quick overview and some reflection on our first Young Engineers of Today Fall 2015 lab, in which we took the idea and examined the concept of building structures, in this case bridges, an idea and a topic that's been used many times in classrooms and for many STEM activities. And what we did was we used some basic intro to structure connect sets and worked with that to have students apply that to their very own bridge. And so they had to work in teams and collaborate, communicate, problem solve, and then the higher order thinking skills of being able to take the information they've been learning in webinars about structures, as well as building with a tool such as Connects, and then be able to make that and apply it and move it into their very own bridge design. So this was the agenda that we had. Our labs run 2 hours, and you can see here real quick, just some basic introductions. We took a look at the challenge overview, which I'll show you here in just a minute. They then had about 40 minutes to experiment with bridge building using Connects. They then had to submit their plans for the actual bridge challenge build. We tested the bridges, and then we cleaned up. So we moved very, very fast. In 2 hours, there was a lot that we crammed in to pull all this off. This here was the design task, and this idea comes from the Connect Educator Guide. We modify some things along the way to make it fit our needs, but the idea does stem from the actual Connects. And then the design task was to design and make a bridge that can span a 40-centimeter gap and be able to support a 50-grand load in the middle. The key piece here is that the bridge must have a roadway that all vehicles can travel along. And so this is what the students had to figure out. And so it's almost like a word problem in math class. What are all the ingredients? What are the details that you have to know? So we have this. We obviously have this, and we have this. Many students forgot about this piece right here when they were designing. Here were the conditions. When we were prototyping, and they were actually designing the ideas for their bridge, we used the Connects. However, they were not allowed to use Connects for their own bridge. So they had to come up to the Coffee Chug construction store and apply what they built with Connects into the materials, which I'll show you here in a minute. They were given 40 minutes of everything. And one of the key things that we wanted students to work on and think about was the pre-planning. And so what we did was right here, we doubled the cost and we gave people a return of half their money back. So if they had to come back to the store for a material, it cost them twice the money. Many times kids just jump into an idea and they don't really think it through all the way. They go with their first idea, they think they've got it, and that's it. And we did see this happen a little bit, and so working with them to go back and think it through. Is this the best idea? Have you thought of every possible detail? Then that just takes time, and that's why these opportunities like this are really, really important to help students do that. And I should share that the winner then was the person who built the bridge that could handle the 50-gram payload, and the bridge cost the least amount of money. The other thing we did right here is they're only allowed 2 times to test their final bridge design, so they weren't able to come up time and time again, so they had to really plan carefully how they were going to do that. And these were the things that they had to have right here when they submitted it to me. I need a piece of every item. I needed the total cost for the bridge, and I wanted to see their math computations. So here are the key things, and this is where the ones that were successful thought of, and the ones that were not just rushed through. You know, how can we make it stable? How do we make it stronger? What are the weak points in the design? So, you know, if this is my bridge here, and I see that it's collapsing over the span, if this is the thing and it starts to collapse right here, you know, what are we going to do about it? What's going to happen right there? So many times when the kids were testing and their bridges started to fold, they weren't paying attention to these points. They were just going, oh, it didn't work. The quality teams were able to identify that. So this was the story here then. Paper, a piece of paper was $5. Tape, $1. We did allow them to use duct tape or masking tape. It was up to them. Almost everybody used duct tape. And then obviously they were able to split it in half and get more tape if they wanted. Paper clip, straws, pipe cleaner, and string. As you can see, those are materials that they had to use. So, how did it go? First, they had a prototype with the Connects, which they really enjoyed, and you can check this out here and see kind of what they did. We've got a lot of pictures here. So kids were problem solving early on, working with the Connects. There's the guy in the book. I gave them all those things, and they're working on truss bridges and different types of beams and pieces. And the whole time they're trying to think of, you know, if we're using this green bendable thing, are we going to use a straw? Are we going to use pipe cleaner? You know, what are we going to use here? You know, is this tape, paper clips? So kids are working through not only building the idea, but then trying to figure out what material they're actually going to do with it. And so the reason we did this was because Connects is easy. It's like Lego. You could take it apart, you can reassemble quickly, you're not out materials, and you can just keep trying new ideas. And you can see there's just a plethora of different thoughts and concepts that are going on here. They were allowed to test their bridges over here. This was our 40 centimeter span, and so they were testing. Then we had different apples, weighed different materials. Obviously the Connects hold a lot better, but it gave them the idea in terms of strength and integrity of how things would hold. And so these are just some more ideas, and the idea was just to keep thinking about how we're going to actually build this ourselves. And so towards the end, you can see this one here. They really had a lot of weight on there. So the designs start to get pretty creative after about 40 minutes, you know, and how do you displace weights? What's that look like? What do you do? This was a clever one that if the bridge itself is kind of underneath here, but he built these top parts, so if the bridge slipped, these would catch them on the sides. So pretty ingenious idea. So they're building the actual bridge, and here we go. These are some of the kids now converting. You can see here some of their idea. This is just their bridge name, but now we've got them thinking, how are you going to replicate that Connects board? If you remember earlier with those planks, you know, how are we going to connect these pieces, and can we do that with straw like we have here? And can, you know, what do we do? Can we put pipe cleaner? Does that work? Does that strengthen? You know, here they are laying things out. These guys, pretty smart idea. We're using tape for the roadway. You know, just some ideas as they're going through. They're working, they're problem solving. Obviously, maybe here they're kind of checking out what are the other kids doing. You know, can we brainstorm? Even though we're competing, can we learn from one another? So these were the original cost of the bridges when they started. 35, 33, 36, and 27. And I'll show you the final cost here in the end. And so things just kept developing and prototyping. You can see here, obviously, there is a gap, which is a problem. They weren't done yet, obviously, so a vehicle would not be able to work through that. This one here was a pretty good idea. You can see now they're starting to figure out weak points that they're trying to reinforce when they're doing their testing. Here's another one. This ended up being the winner. This was a really well thought out place where they rolled the paper where the straws would come together, and they would then reinforce the straw strength by rolling paper around them. Really smart design. That bridge did not budge at all. Very impressive, actually. So here are the final bridge costs. Actually, Wild Thing ended up being $31.50 because they were actually able to return materials, and they ended up actually winning the whole thing. The bridge was $36. This bridge here ended up being $70. they more than doubled their cost because they didn't think it out as well as they should have. And some of these guys went up a little bit, but that's just part of the journey. So here's some video. You can see the kids in action, which I think is really powerful.
And put the other ones down. Like right there.
Okay.
Mm.
Here we go.
No, I need it. We're gonna need much more to fit.
I'm hoping they do. Yeah, look at it. Yeah, I know.
Like this?
The cheapest one too.
Yeah, play Apple yet. Yeah, try Harmonica.
Yeah, but the thing is,
That game group.
It's test number 1.
Yeah, right across that way.
It looks like a heavy harmonica.
And then it's gonna slide out.
Your design is good.
Oh! Oh no!
How long does that have to stay? This is the game winner right here.
Now, how's the vehicle going to be able to drive?
They're gonna go like this. They're gonna go burn, 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 burn,
So I think you need to work on your bridge, because right now the
we need
vehicle
a
couldn't go across.
I think like this. Or that.
What
if we
Aiden! We are the kings!
No! Jason!
No!
We have less money if we use 35, 36.
Oh!
So then what I did here, after you were able to see them kind of work through that process, we then have a video of the rationale. So what I had them do at the end, when they were done building and testing and prototyping, was they had to explain their bridges. Now keep in mind, this is done after school, so they did the best that they could, but I think it's really important for them to see. I think a critical piece that we talked about and that we need to continue to talk about at Young Engineers of today and in any classes, a lot of these kids, because their bridges didn't work the way they wanted, they viewed it as a failure. And that's not the case. What they did was they were in the process of learning. And if we were able to do this lab again for another 2 hours or an hour and we gave them all brand new materials, I think the bridges would look very different. It would be quite, I don't know what the word would be, more constructed cohesively, where we would really be able to see some improvement in learning. And so it's just that mindset, really, it's that growth mindset that we have to focus on with kids. And it's not that they failed. There was not failure in this. Things did not work, but that's learning. And that's where we have to go to. And we're breaking the current visions of school, where if you don't get it right away, it's wrong, and you failed, and you can't pass. And that's the beauty of engineering and STEM, is you go back and you build your prototype, you work again, you fix it, you make it better, and you improve.
The wild thing was meant to be strong on the edges, and then we're just going to put pieces of paper in the middle because we knew they wouldn't rip as long as we taped the middles together. So we took straws and put one straw inside the other, and then surrounded the middle straws with rolled up paper to make it even stronger. And then we just taped this paper in the middle. And one other feature of this is portable for on the go. You just carry it around. So yeah.
And we wanted to use as little tape as possible so that we could save money on the bridge.
Yeah.
And not spend as much.
Good. Your guys' final cost was $31.50, correct?
Yes.
All right. Good.
Where is the?
It was a total failure. So, do you see, if you look closely, there are these triangles. They were meant to be 2 on either, or there were meant to be 4 on either side, but we didn't have enough straw to do this, so we scrapped that, and we just put them in a row and taped it to a long piece of straws with pipe cleaner inside of them to just add a little. What's the word? I'm playing strength. That's the word.
So what would you have done different if you said it was a failure? So if you were to do this process again, how would you construct your bridge differently?
Get more materials.
Yeah, we would probably think about it longer and just go through all the decisions carefully and try not to make a mistake like this is. And then this thing is like we tried to make it so when it bends that it just catches it, but it didn't really work either. So the whole thing was kind of a total failure. But it, yeah.
Well, it's not a total failure. You learn one way how not to build a bridge, right?
Yeah.
All right.
And how
Good.
not.
All right, so talk about a little bit what you guys created.
Alright, so this is the best route in the gigantic Earth. And,
Well, first off, it looks like airplane wings, which is why we meant for it to look like that. Yeah, in the beginning we had something of kinetics that looked much better than this, but it didn't really end up very good, and we ended up needing like 20 feet of tape and about 90 straws and a ton of pipe cleaner.
but although it may not function as a bridge very well, I'd buy this and frame it in my house somewhere. It's very elegant. It spirals.
So you guys bought a lot of different supplies as you went on. So what would you do different in your planning leading up if you're going to do this again? Because you guys ended up with $70 of a bridge. So, which is okay. But I mean, how would you go about it differently?
Well, probably would have bought more supplies in the beginning because
Probably
it's double the price in the end. So
Probably would have used less tape.
Okay.
A little bit of tape.
All right.
Just a little
That
bit.
was
Same thing was
Okay, guys, listen.
pretty much a frame of a bunch of straw and then just duct tape across. And over the time we had to add more like pieces along to make it sturdier. And although it didn't work actually, I mean it looks kind of cool. It looks more like a bridge. And our biggest problem was like we didn't make it long enough so that it like just went in like this. So it didn't turn out that well, but it looks cool to me.
So what would you construct differently? So if it's caving in the middle, what do you need to make it so it's functional? Because you guys are pretty close to having a pretty functional bridge. So what else do you need?
We need to put some more tape on the bottom.
Okay.
I think we should add more length on the here because, like, since these were bending in, we would need more to keep it up. On.
All right. Anything else? All right. Let's go ahead and
Doesn't matter. It's not gonna fall.
go ahead and stick the harmonica in the middle and see how it
Just
does.
like that.
All right.
It doesn't even bend.
You want to try the apple?
We already did the apple.
It might bend.
In case it does, in case it falls.
If you add in more, you can add the green.
Do it.
Oh,
Put it.
See if you can add the harmonica on top of that.
Oh, that's gonna break.
No, it's not.
That'll be less than that green apple, so that's 200 grams.
Can you handle
Might have
30
it.
more?
Can you do 230? Can you get the apple?
I don't think we can.
I don't think we can.
If you can, then
GG.
It's kind of been, yeah.
No.
So you kind of got a weak spot on that back end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
200 is not too bad for
Oh, because this one's bending in too much.
good.
Position.
Well, technically that is.
No! Don't move. Nobody make a breath.
No!
You should know.
It worked.
Everybody. Oh yeah, that worked. We did it.
Wait, it's going down. It's still going.
You give me that.
Screw this to drive on too.
Yeah.
It worked.
That's not gonna work. Hold on.
That won't even hold that thing on.
Bend it. There you go.
That's not gonna work.
You can't use. You
Let's
can't.
just-
You can't do that.
Good.
T4.
Oh?
Oh!
Oh!
Now for me, as we bring this to a close, it's not a couple things that really stand out and shine for me. One, in the first video, you were able to hear a ton of excitement and emotion in their learning. When their bridges held, they were really, really excited. When their bridges didn't hold, you felt the emotion of, oh, it didn't work. What are we going to do? One of the things as we go through the lab is you walk around, and I don't provide answers. They have to provide their own answers. But I ask them questions, and I have them try to speak and talk through their thinking. And that's such an invaluable piece of the learning, because you get in your mind and you think you have it, or you work in a group and you have like-minded, but then when you start to have to explain it to somebody else, you sometimes catch yourself. And this was a video that I think, to me, was the most powerful moment in the entire 2 hours. Was this amazing young man, and they're all amazing, was talking to me about their bridge, and while he's talking, it hits him of what needs to be done. And so I wanted to show this, because this to me is the crucial, essential piece to learning and why we do what we do with things like young engineers of today.
What are you guys trying to fix?
It doesn't really want it, like, the weight with the straws being too flimsy, it wants to, like, bend. Oh! You need to do something about this. Here, wait, don't put that here.
All right, so there it is, kind of a quick overview of our labs, just trying to open and share everything that we do, everything that I do. So hopefully it inspires others. You can use the ideas. Maybe you have something that you can share back with me to improve the learning opportunities for myself as an educator and for the students that I'm working with. Here are all the ways you can reach me. This is my email if you want to reach out, my website where you can find everything that I do, more information about our program, Young Engineers of Today, and this is where you can find me on Twitter. Thank you. I always look forward to feedback, questions, thoughts, ideas, concerns, whatever they might be, and I hope that you found this to be of benefit and help to whatever pathway you are currently on. Thanks, everyone.